Well, hello everybody and welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nisse and welcome to my Flamingo Palooza. And as you probably already noticed, there's a lot of flamingos in here we don't have in the game. In the game we actually only have one, the greater flamingo, and even though that is a beautiful flamingo, there are so many more. So luckily for us, LeafProductions made a Flamingo Pack. I will say though, this is a Flamingo Pack, but there are also every single one of these flamingo you can download on their own. Furthermore, by downloading this pack, you get the zip file, and inside that zip file you get every single flamingo on its own. So you can, if you only want, there's 5 in the pack. If you only want 4 of them, then you only add the 4. But the bonus about getting the pack instead of getting the separate mods, which are the exact same animals, but in the pack you get this. And this is, yeah, science. And I'm pretty sure there's are different. Some people will love this and some people will hate them. They are pink, so of course I love them. They are in construction, and if you just search on Flamingo, then you get all of them in here and they are listed as science. So you just go into the animal science. We got 6 flamingos down here on a line, which also is the flamingos from the mod, and the, of course, they're also the greater flamingo. This is the lizard flamingo. Then we got the American flamingo, the Asian flamingo, the Chilean flamingo, and the greater flamingo from the game, and lastly the James's flamingo. Then we got these two. Designs need to stand on something, a wall for instance. Here I just put them up on the barrier. Then we got these two that you can, sorry, me and my clicking. But these two, and they do look extremely goofy here. It's Lawn Flamingo 1 and 2, they call. This is the 1, this is the 2. And they look so goofy here. You can see they are not realistic at all. But if you ever seen a lawn flamingo in real life, they do look this weird and goofy. Especially the eyes and the beak is spot on, if you ask me. Then we got the bigger signs here. We got these. Planet Zoo Chilean Flamingo Head Small and Planet Zoo Chilean Flamingo Head Large. I only found these two, so I didn't found this in all of the different flamingos. I only found these two in Chilean. Maybe I missed something. That is always a possibility that I missed something. But at this point I only think that's the one you need. But to be honest, if you have only the greater flamingo and put this sign up on the habitat, then no one would notice, especially because all your guests are computers or computer made, so they don't really care what you put on your habitat, to be honest. Then we got this Planet Zoo animal sign flamingo, and it is flexi-colored. These ones, sorry, down here, also claim to be flexi-colored, but if we go in here, oh, not, that isn't flexi-colored. This one is flexi-colored, and the only color it has is black. And if I try here, I make it pink, I make it purple, I make it blue, I can't really see what changes, so I actually think that's a mistake. But as I said, we had these 5 new creatures. I'm pretty sure this is the greater flamingo here. Yes. Let's just take them in order so we don't forget anyone. We got the American flamingo here. who has this really dark red color, which is both right and wrong because most flamingos get their color for what they eat, from the things they eat. So therefore they will change color and become more pale if they eat less scallops, if I remember it's scallops, and more pale if and more dark red if they eat a lot of them. So therefore that will change over time. But I think overall the American is darker. Then we got the Asian flamingo. We have one in here who has this very, very pale pinkish color and this dark feather out here. A darker part here and then lighter when we go back, further back the body, and lighter when we go up the neck. Next on the order of business here we got the Chilean flamingo. We have over here who has this darker wing but no black down here, and you can also see, would you mind just standing still? The feet are more red and the knees are a darker red as well. It also seems more slender in the top half of the neck and the head. Then we got the James flamingo here that actually have the white wing but then darker red down here. And very pink legs actually, and then the black part here on the wing, but the main color here is actually white. And then they have the red part here on the beak, and again a bit of red there, which is completely different from the other flamingos. And then lastly we have the lesser flamingo, which is the baby sister of the greater flamingo. I'm pretty sure that was the greater, yeah, and the lesser. So you can see here big size difference. Oh, just clicking here. Here we have the dark red legs all the way up and down, the red patch here, and they are very spotted with their darker feathers within the lighter feathers. And then here you can see they don't have the red part here, but they have a darker beak all over, which is this reddish bluish black, and then these red eyes and rings around the eyes, again with the black there on the wing. You can see when they fall it out. So that is our 5 new animals, and we're going to go over them in the Zoopedia now. I'm actually planning on starting to put in chapters in these videos, so if you don't want to see the Zoopedia, then you can skip over it and then see when we take a closer look at the animals later on. I just really care about the Zoopedia, but I know other people don't. So that was the greater flamingo we have here. We're gonna start again. I'm gonna take them in the same order all the time to hopefully not get that confused. There are about 90,000 left in the wild, and they are at least concerned. They live here in South America, and as always I'm a bit confused if this is Central America or where that starts and ends. But basically North America up here, South here, and then they live here. In here they are, I will say they are, I had these animals before, this mod before, so it is just a, it's just been updated for the new, when the new update for the 1.9 came out, so they are made before we had all this wetlands things in the games. I know for someone won't notice it, but some people will. So we go in here and they are listed in USA, Cuba, Venezuela, Puerto Rico and more. they are in the aquatic biome, which we all know it isn't because they actually swim, it's because they live in these wetlands. Tropical, temperate, and grassland. One adult need 50 square meters land and 20 square meters water, but no deep water. If you add an adult, you need 2 extra square meter terrain and 1 square meter extra water. And if you add a baby, that's 1 square meter extra of each. They live from 8 to 30 degrees, and you need a grade 2 fence and only 1 feet high, so that would be around 33 centimeters. Again, my game is set up to centimeters and meters, but so much just doesn't translate. Yeah, you can have 500 or whatever you want, which I love when they do this. They assert their dominance by yelling at each other. Well, nicely put. They are polyamorous. So if you just have one male and then females for the rest, he can give all of them pregnant if they both have the stats for it. They have a mutual relationship with humans and guests can enter. We're gonna skip to the next flamingo here. The Andean, I'm not sure, Andean flamingo. There's the different here. 1 alpha per group, it says, but the rest of it is the same. Then we have the Chilean. I'm so sorry. One day I will learn this. That have the same information as the Andean. And then just the greater flamingo here. They don't have any dominance, and they are both monogamous and polyamorous, which I find interesting, but else the information is the same. And again, the only reason I take the greater flamingo within here is just to compare. Here it actually, the Jameson's flamingo actually have non-dominance as the greater flamingo, but they are monogamous, like some of the greater flamingo actually. So we're gonna go to the last one, which is the lesser flamingo. It have 1 alpha per group, polyamorous, and the rest are the same as the rest of them. Now let's go to this size of it. Looking all over the game down here, it isn't like you see someone that's basically half the size of the other. Maybe the lizard, you could see the big size difference with the lizard and the greater flamingo, but overall when you just look at it, it could look kind of the same size, most of them, but we're still gonna go over them. And I think we started with the American flamingo here. It can grow up to 5 feet tall and weigh 8 pounds. These only grow to 3.5 feet tall and actually weigh more by weighing 9 pounds. The Chilean is kind of in the middle with 4 feet tall, but they are the heaviest at this point by 7 pounds. Then we have the greater. It can grow to 1.6 meter. 1 meter is roughly 3, so that would be roughly 5 feet, I think. And they also get a lot older than the other, but it only weighs 3 kilo. 3 kilo would be roughly 6 pounds. So they aren't that much heavier, even though they are taller. Then we have the James's flamingo, which only grow to 3 feet tall and it weighs around 4 pounds. So it's a small one, but is it smaller than the lizard flamingo? Yeah, it actually is, because the lizard flamingo grows to 3.5 feet tall, and 6 pounds. I actually forgot to show you something in here, because we have the American flamingo there that lives here, but when we skip to the Andean flamingo, same places, Chilean flamingo, same places. It's funny because I googled this Chilean flamingo and it says Africa. I know Chile is somewhere out here. Yeah, you can also see here Chile. I don't know how to say it in English, but when I googled the Chilean flamingo, it actually said Africa. The greater flamingo lives over here in Africa, Europe, and Asia. Then we have the James's flamingo, which also is South Central America. And then we have the lesser flamingo, which is over here. So by the only two flamingos that lives over here, we have the greater and the lesser, where the lesser is clearly smaller than the greater. But over here, the James's flamingo is actually smaller than the lesser flamingo, but because they don't live the same place, they probably weren't named the same. I know that was quite a jump, but I kind of just noticed that I forgot this. And I kind of feel like it's an important thing. I actually expect all of this to be the same. For the animals, I'm not sure if it's gonna be that for the game here. But we're gonna take notice. They reach sexual maturity at 5.5 years old. And they can reproduce until they turn 20. They get 1 offspring per event, and it takes them 1 month to incubate. I think incubating here, so it lays on the egg for 1 month, but I don't know from they fertilize the egg how long it takes. They only have 1 mating season a year, which most birds has. They should be easy to reproduce in captivity. And we're gonna jump to the Andean flamingo, and it's completely the same, which I like. It is basically the same animal. I know it's not the same subspecies, but it is the same species. Here the Chilean flamingo, the same. Greater flamingo. That's actually changed, but the greater flamingo here also live much longer than the others. So I don't know if that have anything to do with it, but here they can reproduce already after 3 years instead of 5.5. And instead of stop reproducing at 20, they can do it until they die. And down here it changed from easy to very easy to reproduce. We're gonna go to the James's flamingo, which actually is the same as the greater flamingo, so that's kind of funny. But they only live 15 years, so that's actually also different. And lastly, we have the lesser flamingo, 5.5, 20 years. So it's the same as the first flamingos. American flamingo. The American flamingo here have a lot of interspecies enrichments, being the American alligator, the Bladysteripier, the capybara, that's new, and the giant anteater. And they also have the greater flamingo, even though these are South American or American animals, but this is a African, European, Asian animal. But I think it's because it's flamingos, but I don't know why those have interspecies enrichment with the rest of his own flamingos from the same pack. Over here, the Andean flamingo have the same besides the American alligator, but overall the same. Next we have the Chilean flamingo, who doesn't have any interspecies. Greater flamingo here, it have
interspecies enrichments with the American flamingo, Asian flamingo, James's flamingo, lesser flamingo, but not the Chilean flamingo. Then we got here to the James's flamingo, who again have the same as the Andean flamingo, and then we go to the lesser flamingo, who have the same as well. Now, enrichments item, it's the same as the flamingo, so we got the herb scent marker, the sprinkler system, the mirror thingy, and this waterfall and metal frame enrichment. And they only have the one food enrichment, which I think is kind of sad. Let's go to our close-up, and we're going to look at a male American flamingo. That wasn't what I wanted. But let's start here. As you see, they float in different ways, the flamingos. Some of them dig underwater, and some of them go over water, and I think it's 100%. This one nearly dives, based on how big the rig they are made on are. I assume they all are made on the greater flamingo, so therefore if they are too small compared to a greater flamingo, then they will be placed down here because the game thinks they're bigger than they actually are. But let's get him out of the water, which he probably don't want to stay here, because food is coming. He has the yellow eyes here, and let's just go in here and look at the texture. Overall, I don't like feathers in Planet Zoo. Most of the feathers I have seen look weird. But a bit of a spoiler, we're gonna have a bit of a bird week. Not completely only bird, but we're gonna focus a lot of bird this week, so we're gonna see a lot of feathers. These hair-like feathers down here looks great. They are very small feathers they have up here, so it makes sense that they are made more like hair strands, because they kind of look like that in real life. The beak is kind of plasticky here because of the shine, but a lot of animals have shiny beaks. Overall, actually, I think this animal looks shiny. I know it's kind of a clean animal, it likes to bathe a lot, but that's a lot of shine up here. I like the color that he have clearly made this the dark red that it can be, which I really like to show that off. It have this, I really like, how to explain it. This isn't just a patch of orange, that is multiple small patches of different nuance and intensities of orange, which I like. And down here it isn't just black, it has some yellowish sheen to it, which I also like. And you can actually see the part between the oversize of the beak and lower size of the beak. Some modders, especially with the early bird mods, kind of look like they have the beak was one piece, and here you can clearly see it looks like two pieces. Let's go further down here and look at the feathers. Even though I'm not that into feathers here, you can get the idea here of feathers. But it also looks like hairs on the feathers. In real life, you know, the strands of feathers would go this way, and here they go this way. You wouldn't notice if you play your game from out here, you don't notice it. It's only because we go this close, and you know I'm really weird, so I go extremely close on my animals. The feathers down here actually looks better to me. They're not perfect at all. Especially because here it kind of looks massive when we look down here. this part here I'm not that into. But again, the mod isn't made for you to look this way. But it kind of looked weird in here with this thing. It's like it bolts up here and go in there and then up here. That might have something to do when they move their wings. We will hopefully see them reach out their wings at some point, but besides that, I don't know. The tail looks okay. It's not the best I have seen. Now I know Leaf as a modder. I don't know him personally, but I have seen a lot of his mod, and I kind of know he can do better than this. But he also one of the modders that put multiple mods out every single week. So I also think a lot of this is a thing about quantity and quality. That doesn't mean that I don't think this is a quality mod. I do, but I think a lot of modders all the time have to think about, can I keep perfection this, and would people actually know if I did? Again, most people don't zoom this mod in, so I do feel like some modders will feel like it would be wasted work if no one noticed. And we also want a lot of mods out there, and even though we have more than, I think, 1100 mods out there for Planet Zoo at this point, but we still want more, and the modders want to deliver, so they can't use like 4 years on one mod. And they do actually push a lot more animals out than the game does. So I'm not angry about it at all, and it's, again, I want to use it still. It has this weird white line here. I don't know, that might be the animal, not the mod. I think normally Leaf have such an eye for detail, so he wouldn't have placed it there unless it was a part of the animals. Then we have the color change down here. It gets a warmer color, where here it's a very cold color, and we have this texture that goes all the way down here. We have a little change around the knees, but he actually captured the feet extremely well with a lot of texture. They are a lot of plasticky, but these kind of dog feet normally have that. The black nails, and then this little thingy down here. I'm not sure what it is, but it is a flamingo thing and a bird thing overall. American flamingo, I recommend. Let's see it move. Yeah, go over and eat now. Yeah, there it opens its beak, and the animation looks good. It moves kind of slowly. Maybe it doesn't know what to do right now, but it does go in this very bumpy movement that a lot of birds, but especially the flamingo, have, because they have these very tall legs that can only bend one way. The neck moves beautifully. Yeah, it looks so good. I know I have a baby of the American flamingo in here somewhere. Yeah, it's 1.8 years old at this point, but it is basically just a boring gray flamingo. You won't see the biggest difference. The biggest difference for me is actually this gradually change in color of feathers, which actually make these feathers looks better than the adult's feathers, especially on the wings. But otherwise it's not pink, so it's just not that interesting for me. But I really like the work he done with the wings down here. As I said, it looks a lot more like feathers this part than that part does back there. Let's go for the next one in the line. We have the Andean Flamingo. And we have our male here, Leonardo. And this flamingo stand they of course all have. Let's stop the time and get our close up here. Now you're a bit inside the shadow, but we got kind of the same hair-like feathers up here. He haven't done as much details here, but it somehow looks, yeah, it looks more hair-like here. We don't get this feathery thing up here as we did on the American, but it's looked good in a completely different way. I think from out here it may look better because you have the more color, more of a color scheme going on, but from in here it looks worse. From my point of view, I would say the American was better. Let's go up to the face here. We still have this clear line between the up and down part of the beak. We actually also have a color scheme here, which I really like. And the beak overall looks very good. Just gonna check here. Yeah. Some of the mods, and I haven't checked the animals from Frontier, but a lot of the mods have this. If you look inside the mouth up against the sun, you can actually see that you can see through the mouth. I know it's a weird thing to notice, but I do. Now he has his eyes closed, which I don't want him to because we want to see it. But let's start here. We have the coloration here, darkness here, the red spot down here. The red spots around the eyes and beaks, you really really need to notice if you want to see the big difference on these beautiful flamingos. I think most of you just want one other flamingo in your game probably, and some of you want them all, and it's totally up to you what you want. I do like the purple part here, but I don't like the way it kind of looks like hairs above the pink hairs. But let's just move him a bit so he opens his eyes. Wrong bottom. Over here. Yes. Here we got the eyes, and they are actually dark brownish. So we have the yellow eyes and we have the red eyes, and here we have the brownish eyes. I kind of feel like the beak aren't as detailed down here as the American flamingo was, but way more detailed up here. There's a bit of a glitch there. Again, that can be my computer. It doesn't have the white line there, but it have a clear line. It have more texture on the legs, where the legs of the American have these lines up here, but I do feel like this part here is new. And then down here we have the same, very much the same legs, just here they are yellow but still with the black claws, and then the little part there. Let's see him move. You just want to go back to bed or run. Yeah, it's kind of more wobbly. Yeah, I was a bit confused. The part down here looked weird, but the legs aren't just put on down here. They're actually based way up higher, so it kind of makes sense. And here you can see the American make the same pose. I do feel, yeah, there you see it have these two different, where they have the halfway up leg and the all the way up leg. Let's see if we can find a baby here on the Indian flamingo. I feel like I have babies for all of them at this point, but I'm not sure. Again, we have this gray boring counterpart. I think you have to go in extremely close to see the difference between the different babies of flamingo. Here you can also see this gradual gray on the wings, which give it more life, but otherwise it is a boring gray flamingo. So we not gonna take too much time there. I know this is going to be one of the long videos. Here we have the Chilean flamingo, and because it's smaller, you can see it swim lower in the water, where most of the flamingo, their backs actually are partially above water, where here is down there. It isn't one that dives. We have one that do dive, you can see over there, but this does swim lower. Let's get him up here. Hello, and let's get our close up. He has this very pale yellowish eyes and a lot of texture here. The beak is kind of boring, no red, no drawings or no coloration up here, but the texture here is so good. The beak itself, yeah, sorry, someday I'm gonna learn to control my camera. There, it's kind of just pitch black. We have the same thing about here, you can see with the shine up here. It looks a bit plasticky, and also down here, which it did just swim, so if it's wet it does make sense. That's also a thing on the other ones. If they were just wet, then it would make sense to have them more plasticky. We have a much better damn it! Oh, can you be demonetized for swearing on YouTube? Well, I'm not monetized yet, so that's not really an issue. Hopefully I will be someday. But I kind of really like the feathers down here. I do feel like they look better with have the coloration the other children had, where they're darker at the end, which is extremely lifelike. What I don't like is it's kind of looks like the feathers was made to go out here, if you look carefully, and then afterward they painted the feathers down here instead. It's actually all of the feathers, you can see that with which is kind of but they look better from in here. And when we go down here, and again from out here, it's look really good. It's only when you get this close, so as long as you don't do that, you don't have an issue. Here we have these legs where we have the partial there. Then it's almost white, but we have again this beautiful texture down. Then we have the red patch there and the very right-ish color again with a lot of texture. And the feet is basically the same as the other ones, with the this time pink feet, black claws, and again the little thingy there. Let's see if we can find a baby of the Chilean one. You are bathing at this point. Well, would you mind coming up here? Yeah. Again, we actually have... I again don't think you can see the biggest difference there. But I just forgot that if we just get back to our Chilean male here. Yeah, we just wanted to see you move. And you move so beautifully. Something just happened when you took a step up here. I just want to see if that was a thing. Yeah, there. Do you see it? Something gets through here when it walks. But not all the time. That's ooh, a little what's it called? Tail whip. It isn't a thing it does a lot, but is a few times something's got through there, and I'm not sure what it is, but because it wasn't the same color as the wings. But that was the Chilean flamingo. Then we got the James's flamingo, I think. Gonna skip the greater flamingo because you know it from the game, and if you haven't placed it in your game yet, then it probably because you're not that into flamingos, and this video is probably pointless for you. But we're gonna go here to James's flamingo. And this is a devil spawn flamingo. It's cute, it's fluffy, and then they have these red killer eyes. There's red here and up to the eye, and again a bit of red here. It's the blood of its victims. I'm sorry, for me this is a demon spawn flamingo, which makes it so much cooler for me. A real good beak. Here you can see it it doesn't have the most texture, but the texture looks great, and a bit of glitching there. Again, that can be my computer, not the game. And I actually think the neck feathers looks better on this than it does on some of the others. And when we get to the body, again, here it looks like it's painted loosely on, especially because it just have this line where it ends, and the line doesn't go all the way to the end of the feathers. That's kind of sad because it is over here you have this beautiful coloration painting, and then down here it looks like someone just gave up. Down here it actually looks beautiful, and the feathers here also looks perfectly fine. Again, I think the ones where they have the coloration on each feather looks better, but this, again, you can decide which coloration each flamingo gets because they look a certain way from the wild. Here you also have this fat blurb inside the wing. Their feet or legs are extremely purplish pink, with more intense color on the knees. Same texture down here, and the same feet, but this time they have this purplish pink with the black claws still and the little thingy on the back. Let's see how he moves. You move nowhere. Are you talking to the other one? Kind of looks like you are. The issue by placing multiple kinds of flamingos inside the game is they aren't able to crossbreed, and they are unable to actually do anything to each other, to other species. Some of the animation I would like them to have together, but I think that's pretty much a game mechanic, where they basically just doesn't acknowledge each other unless they are in the way, and then they just move around like they would if it was an object. Here, beautiful movement. I like the tail feathers just doing its stuff. It gets a bit too low in the water here, quite clearly. Again, it's because of the rig. It thinks probably the flamingo is this big, and if it was, then the head would be up here. So again, not the modder's fault. I think they have cracked sizing of animals at this point, but if it is an older mod, it won't have it. I'm not sure if it's cracked at this point, but I think it is. And lastly, we're gonna take a look at the lizard flamingo, and we got one here. And you look like a baby next to that one and that one. So let's just get you up here. Yes, and let's get in here. You have this entirely black beak that actually isn't black. When you look closely, it have this reddish part, purple, bluish. If you can hear sound, it's because I have a cat that's half asleep but not really, and he just rather have me sitting by his side until he's totally asleep, but I'm working right now. It have this blackish part here, which I know isn't much to talk about, but I just wanted to take notice because this isn't the beak. If you look closely, the beak starts here, so it is actually the top of the feathers, or maybe its skin that have this black color, then this red half circle around the eye and the orange eye. It have extremely spotted feathers with this dark feathers between the lighter feathers, which could be a result of this, you know, the more of these scallops, I think it's scallops they eat, the more dark red they will get. You don't change all your feathers at once, it happens gradually. So if you at a point get a lot more of these scallops, then the feathers developed from there on will get darker, and then you will see that spotted effect on a lot of different flamingos. So I actually love that he also got this part in the game. I love this. Is the best paintwork he's done yet. You can see here it fits in, it's perfectly, it's beautiful. Some of this doesn't look great when you go this close, but this is the best work he done on a flamingo yet. A bit of glitching there, again it can be my computer. Let's just look from above here. Do we have that fatty wing? We do have that bulge there and there, which I aren't a fan of, or maybe it's just there. Yeah, it's just there. And then he have these more dark red legs. I never know that the legs of the flamingos were this different, but apparently they are. That's paler here, then darker here, and then down here they actually go over to a more magenta, pinkish red. And then of course basically the same feet, black claws, and then this little thingy back here. That was the lizard flamingo. Oh, I want to see you move. Let's see you move it, move it. Yeah, sorry, I know you shouldn't sing on YouTube. Especially because you're gonna scare people away. Would you mind moving? Thank you. Moving. I love the little tail thingy. I think all of them have the same animations because they're made on the same animal. It moves beautifully. The shadow glitch a bit, but that's not a bad thing. The bad thing here is the diving part. I know flamingos can hold their breath underwater because they eat this way. Or not this way, but they eat by sticking the entire head down in the mud or the water to kind of filter out nutritious. But this is just wrong, but again, it isn't Leaf's fault, it is the rig. So yeah, but that was the last one, so let's just try and find the last baby. Should have one here. You are 2.6 years old, but again, not even the beak is different. I thought that this beak would be completely dark because its parents' beak was completely dark, but apparently it aren't. So yeah, the wings look so much better here. You can see you don't have the bulk in here. I don't know if he's just copied the babies from the Raider Flamingo. I know the first mods he put out there, he didn't really care about the babies. I know nowadays he really loved the babies, but I think everyone have a journey when you start something new, and I think for Leaf it kind of was this baby thing that wasn't just a thing for him in the start, but now it really is. So yeah, that was all of the flamingos in here. To be honest, I'm basically only gonna link the Flamingo Pack below, because that's the thing I used. But if you want to get only one of them, again, you can just download the entire pack and then pick the file you want. They are named individually in there, so when you open the zip file, you just take one you want. Otherwise, you can go on Nexus and just search for the flamingo you want. I kind of like the color scheme of the different flamingos in here. I do know that the American really stands more out than most of them. But I do like the diversity it brings to a flamingo habitat. Yeah, very beautiful animals. So I'm betcha that was way too long, this little review here. I don't like calling it reviews because I'm not classified to actually review a mod, but I just want to show you these mods and kind of have a safe place where you can go and see the mods completely and the Zoopedia and stuff before actually getting them. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking now. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell of notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!